Hey everyone, welcome to Band of Badgers. I'm Dave, that's Steve down there. And over here, I pointed in the right direction that time. Over here, we got Matt, founder of ELDRITCH Foundry, who's going to join us today for some questions. How you doing, Matt?
Good. How are you guys?
That's good. Well, that was the correct answer to the first question anyway. Done. We're good. It's a bit of a rush here at the moment. We've had it's been a busy week, both at the day job and at the Badgers thing. I was going to say Badgers job, but Badgers is not a job. It's supposed to be the fun and excitement and the getaway. But sometimes it feels quite hectic and manic, like a job.
Like a job.
But it's not. So we're going to be doing a question, a live Q&A. For those of you joining us live, if you have any questions for Matt, please do put it in the comments below. Steve will do his usual stuff and kind of do his big magic and clickety-clack and bring it up on the screen, and Matt can answer all your questions. Now, if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, you can put your questions in the comments below, but if you type it in, we're no longer live. We've gone home or gone to bed or done whatever we are. The interview, you missed it, but you watch it on YouTube. If you do have any comments, put them in questions in the comments below, and I'll pass them over to Matt, and we will sort them out for you. But Matt, again, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you. We've been doing bits and pieces with ELDRITCH Foundry over recent years because we like your minis. We love your minis. The system, as we know it, has been growing and exponentially with all the different features that you can do now with character minis and all the new features. But I was going to jump straight in and say, where was the drive for this? We had a chat before we went live about your background and stuff.
Right.
And this is a completely kind of reposition of what you wanted to do with your life. How? Why? Go for it.
Why? Oh, man. Do you want the official answer or the actual reason?
You can do the elevator pitch, or you can do, well, I mean, how did you feel? I mean, there's a lot of people who change direction in their careers. We all get to a certain age and go, you know what? Maybe my life choices could have been better. And now I'm a big kid. I'm a grown up. I have money. I can buy the toys I couldn't afford when I was a kid. But you've made a system to build your own toys. You can build action figures. You can do facial expressions. This thing is incredible.
Thank you. So, well, to start by why, the why is simple. I used to be I'm an economist by trade. I used to do data science before it was called AI. I think it's called now.
Yep.
I don't know. And it was soul crushing. I remember I used to it was data science for like this big credit card company. And it was just the worst. And I remember I used to drive to work and then sit at the driveway in my car and just like hype myself up for the day. And like, you can do it. You can do it. It's a good paycheck. You have a family, you have kids. It's important. You can do this. And after a while, it was like, I hate every single aspect of this. It's just a nightmare. And I wanted to do something else. And about that time, a good friend of mine roped me back into D&D after I hadn't played since high school for whatever reason. Like, it was 5E's. 5E was sort of hitting its groove. It was being the thing it was.
Yeah. The thing is, before it turned into what it is now.
5E at its best. Let's put it that way. And I was really so I was in that weird spot where I was finding a lot of joy in my renewed hobby, and finding a lot of unhappiness in my day job. And I remember one day, like I had it in my mind to play a dwarven gunslinger, and obviously there are no dwarven gunslinger minis out there. It's not a thing. And I wanted to have one because you do. And there was only one other one company out there that does this. It's Hero Forge. You know them. And it annoyed me to no end that their dwarf was basically just a short human with a beard.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love their system, but it irked me that their design choices were so middle of the road, so generic.
Yep.
And I sort of thought at the time that, especially with miniatures, especially with something that is very hobby driven, especially with something that is so like central to us and how we see things, and personal taste matters a lot, that there has to be a way to do something like what they're doing, but have more adult or bolder design choices in there. And that's sort of where we started out, and where I was sort of looking at it and saying, all right, how difficult can it be? I mean, they've done it. We'll just set up, like, we'll take stuff off the shelf, we'll just build the systems and connect the various pieces. There are already like established libraries for 3D animation on the browser, and handling a pipeline doesn't seem to be that difficult. And let's just connect everything, get a bunch of assets in there, and Bob's your uncle. Not true. Absolutely. Oh my God. I cannot explain how difficult it was to get the system even like remotely running badly. The way it is now is leaps and bounds beyond what it was at the time. But that's where we started out. And coming from somebody who paints and painted minis, it like I've always been a very tabletop first guy, and beyond like having an adult feel to the design philosophies that we had, like the one thing that kept sitting in the back of my mind is, nobody needs a miniature. You can live your life absolutely fine never having seen one.
Yep.
But you want them. You want them. Like I bought, you can't see my desk, but it's filled up with the Saturnine box, the Horus Heresy, their latest, the big shoulder guys.
Big one. Yeah.
I don't know how to play Horus Heresy. I don't have anybody I can play with. There's no groups around me. And I bought the damn thing, and I'm painting them, and I've decided that I will have an army because I saw the dumb thing, and I was like, no, I will have these. And that's sort of the thing that I've always wanted to make sure that our minis have. It's that design aesthetic that feels epic, that makes you look at something and say, yes, that is what I want. And I want it on my table. I want to hold it in my hands, and I want to plonk it on the table when we play. Even if we don't break out a map, my character will be there with me. So that's sort of where we started out, and what's been our guiding light since we started.
I have one which is I have a blue skinned orc called Kingsman, and I have my regular size mini, but also, as you say, also sitting with me, I have my oversized mini, and he will sit there because he is boom. And then if the spellcaster decides to enlarge me, then I can swap them over. It's that easy. But yeah, I get to see the detail of that mini, and I love that, and I love using, like you mentioned, Hero Forge as well. With Eldritch Foundry, we've started using. We have a new show. We've just started Vecna, so we're playing D&D. We have a studio built, a gaming studio, and we're playing Beadle and Grimm's version of Vecna.
All right.
So we're doing all the bits, the handouts, and all the details. But we use screenshots of our characters that we've created. So we've got the minis. They've all been painted. They're beautiful. That we created on Eldritch Foundry, and we took a screenshot of the character generator in color, and that's our character art. So whenever we've got some bits and pieces, boom, it comes up on the big screen. Everyone can see it, and it looks awesome. It's a great system. And I know you're talking about, you mentioned the gunslinger dwarf. You have a variety of items and options in your system. And again, just trying to, because you've created something that wasn't out there already. So you've done something where there is a gap. I want to put that in. I want to put it into my character. It's very niche, but having those little details, the packs, the pockets, that is what I like as well. It's that little detail, and they do print amazingly. So I am going to get that out as well, because when you actually do get them in your hands, that detail is still there, and it is amazing. 3D printers, I mean, absolutely fantastic. But
oh yeah, I mean, like we don't print in-house. I don't have a printer. We're essentially a software house.
Yeah.
But our printing partner, Shop 3D, they have this like unique resin that they've formulated on their own that is the closest to Forge World resin that I've ever felt. Like, it's amazing. It holds details so well. It was one of the things that I loved the most about getting them as our printing partners, because the way that they print is like the closest thing that I've ever had to a resin mold mini from 3D printing. And as technology advances, obviously things will get even better. Yeah. But for now, it's straight up amazing. I love the minis even when they're not painted. They look so well.
Yeah. I mean, coming on to that, I'm going to change topic just slightly there, because I think one of the things you've done with Eldritch Foundry, we talk about minis. You have minis, you have the extra large minis, but it's also the busts. Oh, and I thought that was such a great idea. You can now have that kind of, we used to get them in like computer games. You buy a Batman Arkham Asylum, and then you'd get the statue with it if you paid like $200.
The limited edition versions.
Yeah. So, and like I say, I've got my oversized Kingsman character, but now I could have a bust version on the mantelpiece that I can, that is. We're gonna be doing it for our Vecna game, actually, but we've got a fireplace in the studio, and it's going to go on the mantelpiece.
That's great. I mean, it's one of those features that nobody really asked for. It's one of those features that nobody really asked for. It sort of came about by us speaking with painters and seeing what they like, and then saying, all right, what does nobody else have? Which I think we're the first to offer this. And the other point of view is like, this is great because it came out well, but also I'm sort of fighting the norm where you put the entire character, you have to have head to toe as your battle piece, but you can also have like just the chest northwards. And it gives out so much character. It was a tough feature to develop, but I think it came out really well, and I'd love to start seeing them like more and more out there where people actually print them and put them in place and use them. I'm really excited to see what people do with them.
I like the way that you described that. Instead of using your mini, use the bust, because I found that some of the like when you buy minis from WizKids, you get the 2 in the pack, but they're not quite your character. Right. You get the wizard, or you get them in a magic pose or something like that. And I found after a while, like the fighters, the swords were like not just breaking off, but pointing in the wrong direction sometimes. So I started just doing like, this is a good example here. It's like a chess piece. They're just standing bold. They're not carrying the sword and shield, but it's on their body. It's on their items. And I imagine that all my player characters are chess pieces on a board versus a series of monsters. But like you said, now you could have the bust of that character moving around. You know who they are because of the artwork. So,
right, exactly. It's mostly a way of sort of how do you want to visualize things and what helps you the most and what helps you connect the most to your character, right? Some people need the entire thing. They need the pose. They need like fire from their hands. Some people want to see their face of their character to better connect with it. And some people just want to paint a bust, and having that capability is something that I think is really cool.
I also think, because we were talking about Gen Con before we came on as well, if you're going to a con and you're going to play, then you sit down at the table, here's my character, you get your bust out, put it on the table, it's got the nameplate on the bottom, It's got your features. People understand what your character looks like. It's a good way of if you're just playing a pickup game, of introducing yourself very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it's especially since it's a custom design thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is in a way so much easier instead of sort of describing yourself. It's like who your character is. Like, here, you tell me who you think my character is. And it's sort of like one of the things that I like the most about role-playing games is not playing a character sheet. It's playing a character.
Yes.
Like, a lot of people play, and that's fine. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not like dissing anybody's play style, but I like to play where I play a character. It's not a class. It's a dude. Like the character in the world itself, it doesn't know it is a fighter or a wizard or a warlock. It's a dude living his life. He doesn't know what he is, right? So that I think is like a cool way of sort of throwing responsibility back to the other players to interact with you.
We're talking a lot about the busts and the options. We've got a not kind of a question. Glitching Badger, he says, oh, not that one. It was another one. Where is that? That one. Can I just say, after recently creating a file through EF, the customization options are grand. Think you guys would ever cross into scenery or map design?
Oh, that's a good question. It is something that we've always sort of had in the back of our mind. There's always sort of the biggest issue there is that it's it would require sort of a big redesign and re-architecturing, that's a word, of how we do and display things.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to be able to do that. I think we could be very useful for something like Dwarven Forge or things of that nature. We do have other things that we definitely want to do first that we think would be more useful before we start trying that out. But one of the things that we're like very deep into development would enable not necessarily us, but other folks to do something like that, possibly.
Fair enough. We got a lot of stuff here going on. We got some questions coming in as well. We're going to put up on the screen just to show people what we are talking about here. Here is the website. You can find the website at eldritch-foundry.com. Steve can shove that up. And you can see all the bits and pieces we've got here. Also, these things on the screen now, we have the like the throne settings, and you've got mounts and everything else. There's the busts. Busts look awesome. Let's bring up the I'm going to swip around, Steve. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Let's bring up the other one for you. Here we go. So you can actually see what we're talking about. There is the customization option. This is the screen that once you load and get into. But you've got different races. We've got fantasy, sci-fi, a little bit in between. I noticed there was some Helldivers in there as well, which were awesome.
We have Helldivers?
We have close to Helldivers, which not exactly. We've got some superheroes as well. There's a lot of stuff in there, and again, we got everything here on the left-hand side. You may be able to see it on the screen. Facial controls is a big one. We were talking about this before we started the stream. Facial controls are absolutely awesome, where we can actually zoom right in. I'm going to change that angle, and we can mess around with the eye placement. It's a bit that's a bit freaky. I just put his eye into his eyebrow. No, there we go. Oh, look, it's. Are you watching Alien Earth, by the way?
No, but I should.
You've got to watch it. You have to watch it.
I'm catching, like, I'm way back on my TV. I'm catching up on Resident Alien now, which is hilarious. It's good. I will say, by the way, the the expressions, all of the various bones that we opened up there,
Yeah.
they're like there's a few others that are also available that we haven't opened up to the public, as it were. But these, our head rigger refused adamantly to open them up because he said that it would be ugly and people wouldn't know what to do. And I had to twist his arm to say, to sort of like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't care. We're opening up every single bone that we can, that we feel is even remotely not terrible. And people will do crazy things and they will enjoy them. And after we went live with it, it was like, all right, fine, you're right. I hate you, but you're right.
It's anyone that's ever played an RPG on the PC or any sort of game that has any character build customization will know that you spend hours and hours and hours tweaking your character to look like whatever your imagination may dream of. And I spend more time on the head facial controls options than anything else.
And the funny thing is, at the end of the day, it's like it's this big.
Yeah, that you can't see. Yeah, you can't see.
Yeah.
And I have no hope in hell. It's like I have an obsession with opening the jaw just enough so you can see the teeth, but then paint the face the same color.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
then absolutely mangle the eyes. So it's
Yep.
either
I have
blood-
no idea what I've done now. I have really messed this guy up. He's that's
it's good for him.
incredible.
He's
There's
been
my
through the
next-
ringer.
My next character. And we mentioned we had a question earlier as well about color. So color's the newish system. You've launched it this year.
Yeah.
Where we can now, I have to wait for it to load. We can now start painting our minis as well.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, the reason ours takes so long to load compared to everybody else's, we, being the unique special snowflakes that we are, decided to build a system for color that, like in a little Dora the Explorer type situation, it's a hidden tool that will be useful later. We recalculate everything whenever you do it, so we didn't have to do like a UV mapping of everything. So it's slower to load, but it does give us amazing flexibility in the future if we do things with other creators or open up the system for like people's own designs. So we should be able to sort of give them the ability to color over like an uncolored design,
Right.
which is why the brushwork is was so important for us, and why it's slightly why it takes a little while to load.
I mean, is that been some of that, like the kind of is that the most like significant tech? Is it a technical problem or is it a manufacturing problem when it comes to printing them? What is there a leeway there?
So there's two ways of it's both.
Yep.
Like only a madman would do something that is both software and physical.
Yep.
You'd have to be absolutely insane. But sort of the fastest way, or rather the easiest way to do color, is to go over every single asset that you have and then do what is called a UV map on it. It's basically put like a skin over it that you can just paint over. It's a series of texture maps, and that is the easiest way of going about it. However, it is immensely resource intensive, especially specifically human resource intensive. You need to put people on that, and it takes them a long while. And given how many assets we have because of how we built the system, like say Hero Forge's life was easier in this because they have one single skeleton for everybody. It's one race, interchangeable pieces, but one race. So when you do a shirt, you do it the once and you're good. We have multiple morphologies. So dwarves are very different from humans, who are very different from like Goliaths, who are different from the undead, etc. None of them are the same scum. And so you have not one shirt, but say 5 shirts, if it's the same one. So for each of those, you have to do a UV map. So what we wanted to do was have a solution that gives us the ability to sort of, instead of throwing human suffering at the problem until it's solved, which would basically bog us down for about a year where we couldn't do anything but get the system ready for color.
Yeah.
So we shifted the onus to development, to sort of the dev side of things, and that's why the system looks like it does. The other side of it is that we do need to be able to export printer readable files. So we do need to have the system be able to take that, figure out what the model is, what the texture is on that model, and then export it into its own files so the printer is able to handle it.
Yeah.
And we were working very closely with Stratasys, who gave the printers we print with, to make sure that we're doing things correctly and that our colors are as close as humanly possible between what you see on screen and what comes out in print.
Yeah.
I should note, and I will say this because people ask this all the time. It's not one-to-one. The technology isn't picture perfect. It won't be for a while yet. Especially given how, like, it seems dumb, but printing high resolution, teeny tiny things is really the pushing printers, 3D printers, to the bleeding edge of what they can do.
Yeah.
When we started out, we bought a Form 2, which at the time was the Rolls Royce of 3D printers. It was the absolute best. And we burnt out, I think, 3 in a row printing things. And and the company turned to us like after the second one burned, and we're like, we'll give you a new one. Absolutely fine. But you have to from now on keep a very clear log of what the hell you're doing, because you're like using these in ways that we never imagined they could be used, which was fun.
I'll just quickly bring up the my nightmarish character that I've just played. There we go. So that's what happens when you leave me in charge of things, Steve. That's I have no idea what's gone on there. But I was quite surprised that it remembered all of my facial expressions, I was going to say, and just put it straight into color. It does work. And the question we had earlier was about color blindness and kind of labeling and how we get around that. And you've already replied in chat.
Yeah.
But that again, that's kind of software tweaks, accessibility options. I work in design and software myself, so I know it's an ever-evolving software. You do it when you know different releases answer several different things. Yeah, that is not a Kingsman. I was going to put up Christian Batcher said Cleric has great cheekbones. Yeah, better than these ones anyway. So that was awesome.
But yeah, I mean, accessibility features are something that I'll admit we're sorely lacking in. It's one of those things that is so difficult to do in something that is so clearly a visual thing. How do I help somebody with, like, color blindness specifically is something that we definitely have been thinking about how to do, and I'll talk about it in a second, but like other disabilities are a big question. What does it mean if it has like the voiceover that says this is plate or this is leather, if the user can't see it? And I can't really, it's not like putting a text explaining what the character is in an image, right? Like say in Blue Sky or Twitter or X or whatever it's called nowadays. So it's a big question. It's always something that we want to do. We're a very small team, and I'd love to do more. Specifically about color names is something that I really want to add color names, but what I really want to do, and I don't know when we'll do it, but we said it here first, Hero Forge, so you can't steal this from me.
It's dated. The date is September 2025. Here we go.
What I really want to do, and we'll need to figure out how to do that at some point, is that once you finish coloring your character, what I'd love to be able to do is sort of give you a snapshot of like, here's your character, and here are the paints that you used. And if you're using Citadel, you're using, I don't know, Blood Angels Red or whatever. Nice. But obviously I can't do that with Citadel or games or whatever the color paint range nowadays, because they will sue the shit out of me. But you
could team up with like someone like Army Painter, for example, a huge European company, great bunch of guys, and probably might be open to doing that.
No, I know. So we had a conversation with them before we launched Color, and we just have been swamped. And it is one of those things that I definitely want to revisit. There's always the question of how do we turn around and implement that, because I don't want to turn around and tell them we're doing this and then sort of sitting around and having Dev look at it and say, why are you promising things that we don't know how to do?
Yep.
But one of the easiest things, like if I recall correctly, all of our color presets have a name saved on them in the background, and it should be fairly easy to open up like a hover tooltip that just says this is red, this is blue, and take it from there.
Yeah, I think so. You've been talking a lot about the potential futures of this technology. Where do you think that's not just for your own business and for miniatures and for the game tabletop community, but where do you think this is going to go? What's the next 2 to 5 years going to look like? Are we going to be printing our own toys, our own Lego, our own action figures? Are we putting toy companies out of business if you can design a toy and people just print it?
So that's a really fascinating question, because there's several layers to this. The simplest one is that in many ways 3D printing is a solution without a problem in many ways for like the vast majority of people. You tell them that they can have a 3D printer and it's very cool, and they'll print maybe a few things, and then they'll say, but I'm not, what am I doing with this? It's not, it's not like Star Trek where it's like, print me a cup of Earl Grey. So it's in a weird spot for prototyping, for like the automotive and aerospace industry. It's amazing. For tabletop, also amazing, because miniatures are definitely in that wheelhouse. But for everybody else, it's an odd situation and not quite clear what to do with it. There is also like the added problem that 3D printers are messy. They're stinky. They're dirty. They require high understanding of how to print. They're getting better, but it's still not quite a plug and play solution, right? It's not a home, paper printer where you just plug it in and hit print and you get a page. It's difficult. So hopefully that gets better as time improves. And finally, designing stuff is very, very hard. Like one of these, like way back when, I think it was one of the Star Wars movies or whatever came out, and I was like, we don't have a lightsaber. Sorry, beam sword.
Beam sword, yeah.
legally this thing.
Yep.
And I turned to our head modeler, and I was like, just make me a lightsaber. How difficult is this? It's a tube with a rounded edge, and just use whatever hilt we have from another store, stick them together, and go. And he turned to me and he said, "You know what? I don't need you to make the hilt. Make the tube with the rounded edge. Give me that, just that, and I will give you lightsabers." And I think I spent almost the entire day trying to install Blender and attempting to make the thing, and failing horribly. Designing stuff is hard. 3D designing stuff is very hard. 3D modelers are artists. It is difficult. It requires a high level of competence. So I don't think most people will know how to do this out of the bat. So systems like ours give people that capability. Like my daughter has been playing around with the system since she's been 5 years old, and she can very easily make something. And my dad, who's like 70 plus, can also make a character. So we bridge that gap.
Mm-hmm.
And I think going forward, like in the real short term, once systems like ours can be opened up to more creators, you will be able to see more and more stuff being brought in for people to do. And as printer prices go down and the ease of their use increases, you'll find them in more and more houses, or at least more accessible. Not every house needs a 3D printer, at least now, but it's become more accessible. Everybody knows somebody who has one. Or at least everybody in our space knows somebody who has one.
Yep.
Not a household item yet. So that sort of takes that step forward. What does the future hold? I don't know. It's really interesting.
You mentioned in like the lightsaber problem. I was thinking of it the other way, but using your system where everything is kind of preset and you can pick and choose, like a giant wardrobe and props. Could there be a section where you give the user access to a very basic 3D modeling area? Here's some basic shapes, so I can make my lightsaber, I can make my hilt, and then go save that as a prop, and then go stick that on my character. Because is that something that's possible, or could you invite your fan base to help you out?
So what we're doing right now is I don't want to fully go out. What I'd like to be able to do is have the system accessible for other creators as a first step. There are many creators out there who create 3D files, and I think it would be very useful for them to have access to a system like ours. Immediately after that, I definitely want to have a kit. It's kit bashing, what you're saying. Like a kit bashing feature. Yes, we definitely want that. There is the biggest issue I have with kit bashing is from the production side of things more than anything, because we can open it up. It's very easy. I can give you access to a bunch of simple things, and you can just put them in the scene and put them around. But what will happen very quickly, you'll find that you'll put a bunch of disconnected pieces, and I can't print that. It's a nightmare. If I have a floating orb, we'll print it, but it'll fall. We'll print the orb, but on the production side of things, at the end of the day, it's a dude who's pulling off, hundreds of sprues off, and the ball will fall off or it'll be missing, and that's an issue. So we need to figure out a way to sort of point to people and say, "You got a floater over there. That's no good."
Yep.
See what I did there? And then there's also, sorry, there's also like the point where it's kind of like why often we get asked, why do our weapons look sort of cartoonish?
Yep.
The shafts are too thick. God, I'm going deep.
Everyone goes deep. Don't worry.
Yeah, or they try to, and then and the weapons are too big, and everything's like comically big on screen.
Yep.
To which I always reply like, yeah, sure, on screen, because on screen your brain, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. Your brain plays tricks on you. When you see something on screen, you immediately think of it as an actual thing in real space.
Yep.
And if you do true scale miniatures, they look like absolute dog shit on the table.
Yep.
Because true scale faces are too small. You can't see anything. And the hands feel too tiny. And the weapons feel like toothpicks. It doesn't feel good. And so what we do, and what I've always sort of put front and center, is saying, all right, we do what you see is what you get, and we optimize for the tabletop. And I definitely want to make sure that things look good on the tabletop. Mm-hmm. So yes, the weapons will be too big. The hands are too big. The face is too big. But there's a reason behind that. If we true scale them down, not only will they look bad, but they're going to break in shipping. They're going to break and break and break, and you're going to be very disappointed when you get your mini and it's in teeny tiny pieces.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, and I know, because, you know, whenever somebody gets their mini and it broke during shipping, they're sad. And that's a shitty feeling to have.
So is that one of the challenges you had when you went with the busts, is to try and get more realism in the face? Because you are printing then at a larger scale.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Like the bust is just straight up bigger, so everything is like way clearer and feels nicer, I think.
Yeah,
works if you want to. Yeah, it's true. So yeah,
we had another question from Glitching Badger there. He says, "What's the coolest thing you've printed, and can you show us?"
Printed. Sure, I have two. Let me stand up and grab it from my, so many stuff. So much stuff. Wait. Oh, I am just such an unhealthy man. So I have three things. One is we designed this for an old Kickstarter way back when, and I painted it up. It's this dude.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I love him. He's so dumb.
It looks like, to me, it reminds me of Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Unofficial, of course.
So, I mean, orcs are orcs. Nobody. Yeah. And then there's our Kickstarter dude, which I printed at color and double size.
Oh, we've seen he's on the website as well. That is,
he's on the website.
Mini.
The double-sized color prints are just so much fun to look at.
Yep.
And I was also taking advantage of our printing partner, and I printed him also in teeny tiny metal. This is so expensive.
That is awesome.
I don't want to tell you how much this dumb thing costs.
Now I really want to know how much it costs.
It's like $150.
Have you put him on the board though, or is it just like a little keepsake?
No, it's like a little keepsake. There's literally I have no reason. I just have this. I really like having like the whatever minis I have to be heavy. It's kind of like why I don't like. I bought a tungsten D20 in last Gen Con, and it's just the dumbest thing ever. It dents every single table you throw it on.
You don't want that on a glass table.
Oh God, no! But it's so much fun. It's so heavy. I love the heft of these things.
It's such an obnoxious noise as well. It's like...
I mean, it's also one of the things that's nice to talk to you about is because you are a gamer, you play the games, you're into the hobby, and you also paint the stuff as well. So, I mean, again, you can create. It's a bit of a weird digital toy shop that anything you can think of, you could then go, you know what, I'm going to create that figure just so I can paint it. I mean, you know, you got access to all these weird and wonderful combinations. Yeah, very, very jealous. Some of these are awesome.
I had to stop abusing like this at some point because we moved office a while back. Like I'm at home right now, but we moved office, and I had just a pile of minis that I ordered for myself from the website. And at some point I was like, I'm not painting any. I don't have time to paint any of these. I haven't barely painted my character for my game, and I don't know why I'm doing this. So when we moved, I just put it on like a Facebook group, and I said, you know what? Anybody who's around, we're moving today. Come in, grab minis, have fun, knock yourself out, free of charge. And I just got like a stream of people. We were like in an industrial zone way out in the boondocks, and people just came with duffel bags just to grab shit out of the oven.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. It made moving very easy, though. Very light.
I mean, it is one of those things, though. I mean, you've got access to it. You're going to want one of everything. Once you have it.
Yeah, you stop at some point because you're like, I don't have room for all of these tchotchkes. I just don't.
We have
Which is not true because, again, I don't have room to put my hands down on my table because of the damn Saturn box right now. I will finish it.
We have I've got another figure here. We had a question about can you print a badger? Badger isn't a race that we've got access to in terms of Eldritch Foundry, and I was just trying to see if I can do it with a Leonin.
Sure.
It's not going to get quite the right styling, but I think it's the right kind of place to start.
I mean, I've seen people turn our cats or the Tabaxi or Kid or whatever they're called into rabbits. So you can probably go pretty far.
I mean, it is. Well, I can play for this for hours, and I have done. And also the scenery is great as well. This kind of background effect, rather than just a model. Where does it kind of all that come from? You've got this magic stand.
Oh,
scenery, the floating stones.
Man, I wish. Every so often, I come across like where we started versus where we are now. When we started out, we had like a completely grayish, slightly textured background with a checkerboard floor.
Yeah.
Man, it looked. Pardon me, it looked like ass. And then our modelers were like, we can't live like this anymore. Our house is just terrible. And they sat down and sort of improved our skyline, our skybox, and they gave us sort of an initial platform. And when we started working on color, we sat down and said, all right, but we're going towards color. It's high time we just upgraded everything visually on the website. So we took everything that the system looked like, if you go back to the system from like 2022, and how it looks and behaves today, it's heaven and earth. Like completely different. So we took everything, we threw it out, we threw it all out, and then we redesigned everything to be easier to showcase, easier to scale, easier to work with on multiple screens, because people love their phones nowadays.
Yep. But that's it. You can do this at work. I've tried, honest.
Yeah, no. So the system looked like we were not very mobile friendly, and it took a lot to make the system work well on mobile. So yeah, so we redesigned everything, and one of those things was like sitting down and saying, all right, so we need a new skybox. You know, gray clouds in the background, not good enough. So we really sat down and said, all right, so what is Eldritch Foundry? Who are we? What do we want people to see when they come towards us? Like, we really wanted to have, since our logo has that tentacle, we were like, all right, so it needs to be something aquatic. Islands? Do we want a sea? Do we want a ship? We went through quite a few iterations of that. And what, like, after quite a few iterations of various skyboxes, we sort of landed on where we are now. One of the things that I really love to be able to do is have both parallax and like a better parallax, and have the ocean move. But my God, the system is so heavy as it is. I'm like so afraid of doing something like that. Yeah.
If you think about everything you've done from when you started till today, what's been the hardest, or what you might consider a mistake, and then what have you learned from that?
Oh man, mistakes. We've made so many. I think the biggest mistake that we had was when we started out, we had thought about doing color. We were looking at the printers at the time and looking at what the printer fidelity was at the time. As a miniatures guy, I was just, I couldn't with good faith do that. I felt like printing color minis would be terrible and people wouldn't like them, that they don't print well enough, the colors don't translate, the miniature like resolution isn't good enough, it's too grainy. So we didn't prepare ahead of time for color, which sort of necessitated where the solutions that we had to do at the end to fix the issue that I did and that I decided upon in the beginning. In retrospect, I'm an idiot, especially considering like D&D players, and pardon me, any D&D player who paints, but most D&D players are deathly afraid, or at least my experience is that they're deathly afraid of painting minis. Because they have the one character and they're afraid of grabbing a brush and painting it because it's like a whole new skill set.
I completely relate to that. I mean, we have a painting show where we paint live with guest pro painters from all around the world. We've got some of them are in the audience as well. We got hi Hagley, hi Firespray, and Matt, you're welcome to join us because now I know you also paint the minis. You're welcome to come on. But we have I never painted until we started that show. And it was always a case of, what if I get this wrong? Or it's the wrong color? But actually, when you get over that fear, and it is one of those weird fears, you put it on yourself, you go, well, actually, now I know how to fix it. And that's a bigger, once you know the solution, that fear goes away, Yeah,
I know. I mean, from my experience, like you can get pretty good pretty fast with miniature paintings. Yeah. Like, sure, I'm not winning any painting competitions, but who cares?
You might win the brush off. You might win the brush off.
Sure, but it's like it's way easier for than most people think it is. But D&D players in general are sort of afraid of that first step. Definitely. They've got their own sort of thing that they're doing, and a lot of them just say, I don't want to invest even a little bit of that effort into like the one character that I'm playing. And I get it. And again, in retrospect, I think that was our biggest design mistake in the system itself. There's a bunch of others, obviously. Like but they're mostly technical questions. But I think that was the biggest one. Yeah, I think if I could go back and just slap myself silly, that would be the one.
I think that mistakes is how we learn anyway. So I think there's a certain element there from finding out those bits and pieces. That's how we want to. That's how we progress. That's how we know we're still doing the right thing. What we don't do is you haven't given up. You persevered. You found new solutions to problems. You keep going because again, there's a lot of other stuff going on in the world, as we all know. So this is our solutions and our hobbies. I'm gonna show you what I've got on here at the moment. This is much better. No, this is much better.
Is it much better than the last one?
It is much better.
Oh, it is much better.
Look at that. So this
feels pre-built to me. You can put this together.
It is. It's a pre-built character. It's one of the quick start characters, so you can pick that kind of thing. And then I've gone into the mounts. There's a whole selection of mounts as well, both fantasy and sci-fi. But it's absolutely awesome.
I really like the monocycle wheel thing. That's my. I want to play a sci-fi game that no one will ever play with me, just so I can have that.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It's what like it's one of our fairly older items, and when we did that, it was like we were missing like a high-techy mount, and the studio were like, all right, fine, we'll make a bike, and I was like, no, make something stupid. I was like, but why? I was like, if we're doing this, make it dumb, make it fun, make it enjoyable. It's kind of like if you go to heroic poses on the left, up there, and like go to our wheelchairs, and either one of those. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that when we did the wheelchairs was like, sure, there's regular wheelchairs, obviously, but there's also the one below the one you chose.
That one?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. We have a spider chair tank, look.
Exactly. It was one of those things like, if we're gonna do a wheelchair, it's gonna be, let's have some fun with this. Let's enjoy this. Let's have something that, exactly. Let's have something that people will say, yes, that. I want that mini. I'm not playing it. I want that mini.
Yep. But again, that it's one of those things that you can build and create and print to play or to paint. It's something I've got to have that because no one else is going to have that, especially if it's my character, my thing, my choices. And that's one of the wonderful things about it. So if everybody watching live, thank you so much. If you have any questions, get them in now. We're going to be wrapping up in a minute. Matt, just in case we don't get any last questions, what can we tease? What's coming next? How do you top color? What's next?
Transparency.
Well, busts, I think, top color. No, busts were after color. The biggest, like what we're working on, and I'm hinting at it, but I don't know, like one of the biggest things that I think would be most useful and most interesting is having more than just our assets in the system and having more and more creators have our capabilities. So that is sort of the biggest thing that we're working on to see how we can make that happen.
More collaborations, more
collaborations, and more. I hate the term because it feels so corporate, but it's like more like a democratization of this space, of this niche of custom miniatures. I think the more creators have capabilities where they can customize, the better everybody in this space will be, and the more variety there will be. It's kind of like, in a way, I hate the world where there's only free custom miniature companies out there. There's us, there's Hero Forge, there's Titancraft. I think that the more companies are able to do that, the better. And that is sort of the major thing that I'd like to be able to see going forward. And hopefully we'll have some news on that front soon.
Cool. Fantastic. Right. We are, Steve, any last questions from you or from the
there was
live
one from
viewers there?
earlier, if you want to put that one up. So do you think we'd have a branch out into monsters, allowing us to design our own versions of said creature? So a Dracolich with missing leg or a one-eyed wolf, for example?
So like I said, it is something that we'd love to see. It is something that we'd love to do or facilitate.
Yep. I agree with that. And on that, with questions answered, we can wrap it up there, folks. I'm going to show you, before everyone goes, I'm going to show you, if you missed it at the beginning, the two kind of mini trailers of some of the features of Eldritch Foundry and MATAN. Thank you so much for joining us. It's, again, lovely to have you chat. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep on having a chat. But again, maybe we'll get you on playing some D&D with us, some Pathfinder. Maybe we'll get you some painting. It'd be good to see.
Draw Steel. We're trying Draw Steel. Like my current gaming group imploded, as they do. But I want to try Draw Steel. I've been following Matt Colville for years. I absolutely want to try that game.
I've got a stack of his books here, but I haven't got Draw Steel yet. But they were doing, because by the time we went to Gen Con, did you get the PDF at Gen Con?
I backed his Kickstarter. I have the PDF.
You already had it, yeah.
I am not reading PDFs. Screw that. I want my book.
See, someone out there has finally agreed with me. Most of the badges in the Haven that we run, they're like, "Oh, I just want it on digital. I just do it." And I'm like, "No, have a book. Have a coffee table book. I love the books."
No, I need the physical thing to leaf through. It's not the same. I read books on Kindle. It's great. Not the same.
Not the same. No, I got to have the book. See. Finally, someone, that's two for me, Steve. Finally, someone agrees. Got to have the book. I'm hoping to get Draw Steel for Christmas. I've been a very good boy this year. So
you've mentioned Christmas twice today.
Have I?
Desensorize or something.
It's
not Halloween yet, for God's sake.
My son was writing out his Christmas list today from the toy shop catalog. And I said,
clearly he gets it from you.
Yeah, I had my list a couple of months ago when I was at Gen Con. And I said, "So how many items have you got on your Christmas list?" He's like, 20, 25. I'm like, what? How?
December has more days than that. He's underselling himself.
Wow, yeah. I mean, is he just going to give me the catalog and go, "There, I just want all that"? I mean, no chance. But anyway, everyone, thank you for joining us. Everyone saying bye. Everyone saying, yeah, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Shove that up. Thanks, Matt. Great chatting with you. Cheers, guy. Oh, that's you. Yeah, that's fine. So everyone else is in chat. Until next time, we'll see you again. We're going to leave you some trailers. Ta-da!
Bye, guys.